At this time, I will reconvene into open session the meeting of the Arlington Independent School District Board of Trustees for March 21st, 2024, beginning at 6:41. Members of the public may access this meeting via AISD website at www.aisd.net. One or more trustees may participate in this meeting via video conference call. A quorum of the Board of Trustees will be physically present at the administration building. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Our board meetings are open to the public, and we welcome everyone, and we thank you for participating in public education. While our meetings are open to the public, this is a meeting, and we do have business to conduct. Disruptions will not be permitted. Anyone who disrupts the meeting or speaks when others are speaking may be asked to leave or be escorted out. We welcome your civic input, but we must insist that we remain respectful and civil. Thank you for your cooperation. We will start our meeting with the opening ceremony. Please join Mr. Wilbanks in leading us in the pledges.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. Please silence all cell phones and electronic devices to avoid disruptions to those around you. And now, if you would please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. We will start with our presentation, the student performance by the AISD All-Region Orchestra. Ms. Foster.
President Fowler, members of the board, Dr. Smith, all of the fans here tonight to see this wonderful performance, and everyone watching online. It is going to be very special indeed. Every year, the Texas Music Educators Association hosts regional competitions around the state for band, choir, and orchestra. In the North Texas area, Region 5, the competition is open to students in Arlington, Grand Prairie, Mansfield, Cedar Hill, and Fort Worth. Almost 500 students auditioned, 224 were selected, and 109 of them come from the Arlington ISD. Yes, that's a good number. The students in front of you represent a large portion of the TMEA Region 5 Symphonic Orchestra, which is the top ensemble in the state. These students are among the elite junior high musicians in our area. In November, they participated in the All-Region Clinic and Concert, where they rehearsed and performed a full concert program under the direction of Joanna Devoto, winner of the Texas State Honor Orchestra competition in 2018. Tonight, they're going to perform one selection from that region concert, and it's entitled Prometheus by Leonard Ingrande. They're going to be conducted by Director of Orchestras at Bowles Junior High, Sarah Wilson. So you guys sit back and enjoy this wonderful performance.
all so much. We know it's a school night. You might have homework. Thank you so much for being here. That was incredible. Excellent. Really incredible talent. Wow. All right, next is presentation B, and that is our March 2024 Student of the Month from Sam Houston High School, Mr. Villarreal.
Good evening, President Fowler, board members, Dr. Smith. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to introduce Ethan Hodge, Arlington ISD March Student of the Month from Sam Houston High School. Ethan's friendly attitude and involvement exemplifies our campus motto. In the halls of Sam Houston, there are no strangers. He is very involved. He is involved in theater, varsity golf, text and TV production team, serving as sound light and technical support, and he's an expert. When we have any type of technical difficulties, we would be in trouble if he was not at school that day because we call on Ethan. And anytime we have any types of productions, you'll see Ethan with this camera videotaping the school, and he does an excellent job. Have built great relationships with Ethan, and I think the whole entire school has as well because he helps everyone out. His passion for film, sound, and lighting has steered him to pursue a career in theater and film, and he hopes to teach someday. Coach Atlas and Mr. Wittenberg commend Ethan for his dedication and commitment to golf and fine arts, and for being a role model to many of our students. Ms. Atlas, his counselor, praises Ethan for his wit and intelligence, while Mr. Pellerin admires the example he sets for his text and TV program. I proudly present to you Ethan Hodge as our Student of the Month from Sam Houston High School. We are so proud of his accomplishments and contributions to our school.
How y'all doing?
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
this award. You want to read something to us or tell us who's here with you?
Yes, I wrote a script. Yes. Okay, so, yeah, I'm Ethan Hodge. Nice to meet y'all. Met you a few times. So, I would like to thank Melody Fowler and Dr. Matt Smith and members of the board for this opportunity today. And yeah, let me go ahead and start in about 5 seconds. Okay, so I'm our school's go-to tech guy, and yeah, I've been pulled out of classes for it. It's kind of fun. It's very fun. It's very fun. So, don't want to do work that day, I can do it after school, you know, get the tech guy stuff going. And so I've also been to other schools to fix their auditorium systems as well, such as Bowie High School. I went there my sophomore year to fix their sound system. And I'm also the theater president, as well as our current theater director with the absence of a teacher. So we're working on a production at the moment. I also got the most likely to cause retinal damage award. So fun, right? And so I would like to talk about golf. It's been the only sport I've played in high school, and it's very fun to play it. I'm also going to districts next week, so. Woo! So that's that. And text and TV, that is our school's new system and where I have met so many people this year. I think that's what really got me into school because I haven't been as involved my freshman, sophomore, and junior year. So this kind of proposed me to get better grades and really try harder in school. And so I wish I would have started sooner. So I'm really thankful for text and TV as well as the text and TV guy, the short guy over there. So. And so I also like to do stuff at our school as well as dress up. I think it's fun. I try to stick to dress code, so don't worry about that. Except for the time I wore a horse head. I've also brought an example for y'all today. Uh-oh.
Still appropriate now.
It's school appropriate. It's school appropriate. I'm Iron Man. So I brought an example for y'all today. So yeah. And so through doing the stuff that I do at school, I may not be a member of these different groups, but I have worked with NHS, the Sunshine Committee, which is a teachers-only group that I've helped make other teachers and make gifts for them and do stuff like that. I'm the only student member, so I'm pretty happy about that. And so I actually want to come back to AISD and work for us. Is Spence in the room? Oh, Spence. Yeah, I hope to come back and take his job, so. So, yeah. So that, love you, Spence, yeah. So, and so I've become honorary members of NHS, choir, and the mariachi. And I have a list of people I would like to thank as well. I would like to thank my parents, specifically my mom, who is in attendance. I would like to thank Victoria Madrano, who is no longer a part of the school's board, or school in Sam Houston, but she's been very part of helping me. And same thing as Kimberly Miller, as well as Pellerin again. And as well as Mr. Wittenberg, Miss Navarro, Coach Atlas, Miss Atlas, who is also in attendance today. Coach Carlton and our principal Via Real for God and God for this moment. So thank y'all for y'all time, and y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Hang on, don't sit down yet. Not yet. Ethan, do you realize how large Sam Houston is and how many students are there? And you were the one that was chosen for Student of the Month.
Yes.
Think about
Yeah.
that.
It's a lot. It's like
That is
4,000
such an
students.
honor.
Yeah.
That says how outstanding you are.
Thank you, ma'am.
You should be very proud. We're proud of you.
Thank
May
you.
we come down and visit?
Yeah. Yeah. Please. Yeah. Just two. Okay.
Well, Ethan, I'm just looking forward to the day that I see your name scroll by on the Oscars, that you
yeah.
were part of a movie. And I think that's probably going to happen. I'm going to start
yeah?
watching very closely for your name because I think you're going to have a lot of success. I love your passion for what you do, and that shows. Very, very proud of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ethan, it's good to see you again. So I've seen quite a few people since I joined Arlington ISD, but I remember Ethan very clearly from my visits over to Sam Houston High School. One of the things that makes me so proud of this tonight is I believe wholeheartedly that Ethan, right from where he is, wherever he is in the school, is dedicated to helping Sam Houston High School be the best that it possibly can be through his attitude and through his actions. I think that says a whole lot about our students in Arlington ISD, and it's my honor to present you with the Student of the Month award for this month. Congratulations, sir.
Here's Spence, the one that you're going to take.
Yes. Now, we also have a special pin coming for Ethan as well, and we'll be sending that to him soon.
Mom and Mr. Villarreal. Here, you there. There we go. Mom, got a good one, you. You've done a lot of things right. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
I know I say too much. Wish that I could somehow keep my mouth shut. But you and I, fair enough. Love and war, why don't we just break up? This is who we
All right, we move on to Presentation C, and that is our Community Powered by Possibilities Award of Appreciation. Mr. Aaron Perales.
Good evening, President Fowler, Dr. Smith, members of the board. Like Ethan, I have a script. Don't leave home without it. Don't get me in trouble without it. Thank you again for the opportunity to say thank you again to a community that deeply cares and loves our students and staff every single day. And this month we have an opportunity to celebrate and say thank you to an organization that's been supporting us for more than a decade. Inspire Ed was established in 2014 by the Higher Education Servicing Corporation with the mission to inspire students to achieve a higher education by promoting a college-going and career-focused culture through educational outreach activities, services, and community partnerships. To accomplish this mission, Inspire Ed provides the following services at no charge to its partners: student mentorship and high school Go Centers, presentations on college preparation and FAFSA, high school counselor professional development, and special events such as college and career expos. Now, this group is so awesome that they've been inspiring us since before they were Inspire Ed, because they've actually been partnering with us since 2010 as HSC. But since 2010, Inspire Ed has partnered with Arlington ISD's Family and Community Engagement Department, our Guidance and Counseling, Career Technical Education and Communications and Marketing Department to provide our annual AISD College and Career Expo, which was previously known as Destination Success. This annual event hosts more than 70 colleges and universities and 50 local businesses that connect our AISD students to post-secondary opportunities. The event includes parent-student workshops on preparing for life after high school. With campus engagement, Inspire Ed operates our Go Centers at several of our high schools. Go Centers are the go-to place at high schools to help students explore pathways to careers in college as a one-stop shop for college and career readiness resources. Students are assisted by Inspire Ed mentors that work one-on-one with students to help them plan for every step leading up to college, from searching for the right college to degree exploration to testing to admissions, even financial aid, scholarships, and much more. They also help students discover and explore multiple career paths that best fit their capabilities and interests. And as a parent, I have a student, former AISD student, that got to experience the mentorship at the Go Center, so I really appreciate that. And they also support staff. This year, Inspire Ed took one counselor from every secondary campus to a national conference for a better FAFSA training. They also conducted a training open to all counselors and AVID teachers on the new FAFSA process. So just incredible engagement with Arlington ISD, coming alongside us and helping our students and staff every single day. And so by promoting a college and career-going culture, Inspire Ed is very well deserving of our Arlington ISD Powered by Possibilities Award of Appreciation. And I'd like to present the director of Inspire Ed, somebody that is very familiar to Arlington ISD, Ms. Leslie Bordeaux.
Thank you very much, President Fowler, Dr. Smith, board members. We're excited to be here today, and we want to thank you for this recognition. We're very proud of the work that we do with Arlington ISD. We like to say that we're based here in Arlington, and we serve the greater Arlington area because Arlington ISD is our home. We have a goal to serve 10,000 students and families every year, and we're always glad to partner in the many different ways that we're able to partner with Arlington. We have exciting times ahead as we look at some future growth with our company and some future expansion in ways that we're able to serve students. I want to thank the Guidance and Counseling Department, Engagement, Equity, and Access, Communications, and Marketing for always partnering with us on our efforts. And as Aaron mentioned, the College and Career Expo is next Tuesday. So if you haven't registered yet, register now. And we're really excited to see everybody there that night. We have a lot of colleges, businesses. We have sessions on preparing for college, paying for college, college athletic recruiting and scholarships. And so we're really excited to do that again this year. And that is all for me. I am joined today by our outreach coordinator, Savannah Lemus, and our program assistant, Fernando Correa. And thank you again for this recognition.
Leslie and team, thank you so much for all that you do for AISD. You are truly one of our best partners, and we appreciate you and look forward to the expo and all the good things that will come from that. But thank you so much for all that you do for AISD. You are appreciated.
Thank you.
Oh, no, it's not another pin. But I am so proud that you're wearing your pin this evening. Again, thank you so much. We appreciate it. You all are truly great partners with AISD.
Leslie, you know, one of the things that we're most focused on here is the success of our students, not just when they're in our system, but for the future. And one of the things that drew me to Arlington ISD was a board goal about 100% of our students being exceptionally prepared for the future. And so I'm honored to have you as a community partner and thankful for your work, because what you're doing is helping us achieve that goal. Thank you so much for what you do for our students.
Picture. Put your team up here. All right, next is our presentation D, and that is our special recognition by Tarrant County Commissioners Court, Mr. Andy Wynn.
Good evening, President Fowler, honorable trustees. Dr. Matt, it's finally get to meet you in person. Thank you. On behalf of Tarrant County Judge Tim O'Hare and members of the Commissioners Court, I'm honored to present a proclamation to the Martin High School Warriors, Texas 6A UIL Boys Wrestling State Champions. I think we have Coach Dunn, Coach Scott, and several team members are here. They were here. Can y'all come up? And I understand that Dr. Rice is retiring, right? And to mark that occasion, I think you should challenge one of these players to a wrestling match. I think that would be fun.
Are we challenging to eat donuts? Because I can do that.
I think we can handle that too, right, Coach?
I will do that. I will do that.
May I read the content of the proclamation? I'm going to try to skip as many whereas as possible. Yes. Okay. The Martin High School Warriors boys wrestling team has demonstrated exemplary skills and effort during the 2023-2024 season, and their commitment to excellence has showcased their resilience, determination, and indomitable spirit. And years of hard work, training, and dedication has delivered a victory for the Martin High School Warriors at the Texas 6A UIL Boys Wrestling State Championship. And the Warriors boys wrestling team triumph gave the district its first state title since 2015. The Martin High School boys wrestling team has brought great pride to Martin High School, the city of Arlington, and certainly Tarrant County, where 2.3 million people live and reside. And we celebrate this extraordinary athletic achievement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim that March 19, 2024 shall be observed in Tarrant County as Martin High School Boys Wrestling State Champions Day. And further, we encourage the citizens of Tarrant County to acknowledge and congratulate Martin High School as 2024 Boys Wrestling State Champions in the state of Texas. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set all hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed on this 19th day of March, 2024. Tarrant County Judge Tim O'Hare, Roy Charlesbrook, Commissioner Precinct 1, Alicia Simmons, Commissioner Precinct 2, Gary Fickets, Commissioner Precinct 3, and Manny Ramirez, Commissioner Precinct 4. Coach Dunn and champions, very well deserved. Now, he said he's a wrestler, but he can speak as well.
Hello guys, my name is Zeke. I just want to take this chance to thank everybody giving us this award and giving us our own day. It really means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to his team. It's just like a big accomplishment, and it really just took like everybody to get this. I really thank all y'all for this. That's it.
We are so incredibly proud, coaches and wrestlers, of this magnificent award, the state champs. That is just incredible. Think about it. In the whole entire state, you're the best of the best.
Texas is a big state.
Yes, it is, with a lot of wrestlers. But we are so very proud, and thank you, Andy Wynn, for bringing this award, and please thank Mr. O'Toole for us as well.
Sure.
And we would like to come down and get our picture made with you.
Okay.
While we're heading down, I also want to acknowledge the fact, I know a lot of people think of wrestling as an individual sport, but you all kept recognizing yourselves as a team and the things that you say and do throughout the year. That says something about the coaching and the students that we have in our school district. So thank you. I believe we also have a state coach of the year, a state assistant coach of the year, and a wrestler of the year out of this program as well. So congratulations to y'all. Good work.
We are so incredibly proud of you all. Thank you for bringing this recognition to AISD. Thank you for being awesome students as well as being such good team members. That is so important. We have such incredible students in AISD. Hasn't this been wonderful this evening? From the music to the wrestlers. This is just an incredible district. I am so proud. Now we come to our open forum for agenda items. As stated on the posted agenda, members of the public who desire to address the board regarding an item on the agenda are required to register at www.aisd.net board meeting speaker request, no later than 3 p.m. the day of the board meeting. Ms. Forsberg, do we have any requesters registered to address the board on agenda items?
No, ma'am, we have no registered speakers.
Thank you, Ms. Forsberg. Next, we will consider administrative ratifications and appointments. Dr. Smith?
Thank you, President Fowler and members of the board. Tonight, I would like to recommend that the board ratify the appointment of the individual discussed in closed session.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Ms. Richardson. I have a motion by Ms. Richardson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. McMurray. Please vote. And we will do roll call. We'll do roll call vote, please, so Mr. Chapa is available.
Aaron Rice, I vote yes.
Brooklyn Richardson, I vote yes.
Sarah McMurrow, I vote yes.
Melody Fowler, I vote yes.
Leanne Haynes, I vote yes.
David Wilbanks, I vote yes.
Mr. Chapa?
Justin Chapa, I vote yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All right. The new assistant principal for Moore Elementary School is Courtney Shank. Courtney, please stand up and be recognized. I got to tell you, I saw some of the signs back there earlier, and I'm like, this is awesome. We got to do this more often. It's my honor to have Courtney here tonight and to tell you all just a little bit about Courtney. Courtney has a bachelor's from Stephen F. Austin University and a master's as well. She's been teaching in Arlington ISD, 7th and 8th grade math, and was also a part of our Aspire Leadership Academy. Courtney, welcome. We're thankful for you taking a step forward into the administrative ranks, and we can't wait to see what you do for the students of Arlington ISD. Thank you so much.
And on a personal note, I have to say that I know how wonderful she is. My son had the privilege of being in Ms. Shank's math class when you were at Young Junior High. So I know how fabulous you are. So congratulations in your new role.
Do you want to let them leave? Because they might not want to stay.
It's a school night. If you need to go, we understand. Next on our agenda is an action item. Dr. Smith?
Thank you, President Fowler. Tonight's action item is for the board to consider the sale and earnest money contract for the acquisition of real property. Kelly Horn is here to share some details and answer any questions. Mr. Horn?
Thank you, President Fowler, members of the board, Dr. Smith. This property is actually a property that consists, it's a group of 4 properties, and we call it 5200 Lake Ridge Parkway, but it encompasses also 2501 Lynn Road, 2912 Lynn Road, and 2914 Lynn Road. It's approximately 15.6 acres, and it ranges in size. The largest is a little over 1 acre, and the smallest is barely 1/10 of an acre. These properties were brought to you back in June, on June 21st of 2022, to recommend these properties be surplused, as that particular area of Arlington, or the Arlington ISD, is situated adjacent or to the corners of also Grand Prairie and Mansfield. There's approximately 5 elementary schools in that area, all within about 1.5 miles to 2 miles of this property. That area is completely built out now, and so that was the reason for surplusing the property at that time. So since that time, we've had one other earnest money contract that you approved in May of 2023. That particular buyer decided they didn't want the property any longer, and so they closed their contract out within the amount of time that they're allotted to do so. And so we, as administration, put the property back out for advertisement and sale again with our real estate consultant, Jim Maybach, and they've been successful in finding another buyer for that. So we're bringing that earnest money contract to you tonight. The details of that contract are within your packet, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Horn. Do I have any trustees with questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion? I'm not, it's,
She's on.
I'm on?
You're on.
Okay. I move to authorize the sale of 5200 Lake Ridge Parkway, 2501 Lynn Road, 2912 Lynn Road, and 2914 Lynn Road in Grand Prairie, Texas, to Wire Acquisitions for the price and on the terms set out in the proposed contract that has been presented to us by staff, to authorize the president of the board to execute the proposed contract, and to authorize the president of the board to execute all other documents necessary or proper to accomplish the sale.
thank you, Ms. Haynes. I have a motion for Ms. Haynes. Do I have a second?
I'll second it,
All right, thank you, Ms. Richardson. I have a motion for Ms. Haynes and a second for Ms. Richardson. Please vote. We'll do it by roll call.
Aaron Reich, I vote yes.
Brooklyn Richardson, yes.
Sarah McMurrow, I vote yes.
Melody Fowler, I vote yes.
Leanne Haynes, I vote yes.
David Wilbanks, yes.
Mr. Chapa?
I vote yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chapa. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Horn. We appreciate it. We now come to discussion action A, consider written opinion for level 4 David Jarvis grievance hearing. Dr. Reich?
Thank you, President. Thank you, President Fowler. I move that the board adopt the written order as discussed in closed session.
Thank you, Dr. Reich. I have a motion from Dr. Reich. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a second for Mr. Wilbanks. Please vote. We'll do it roll call.
Aaron Reich, vote yes.
Brooklyn Richardson, yes.
Sarah McMurrow, I vote yes.
Melody Fowler, I vote yes.
Leanne Haynes, I vote yes.
David Wilbanks, yes.
Mr. Chapa?
I vote yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chapa. We will now, the motion carries. We will now address the consent agenda items, which consist of routine items grouped together for approval as one item. Unless removed from the consent agenda, these items will be acted on at one time with no discussion. Trustees, are there any requests for items to be withdrawn from the consent agenda for further discussion? Seeing none, there is a motion to accept the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion for Mr. Wilbanks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. McMurrow. I have a second. Please vote with roll call style.
Aaron Reich, vote yes.
Brooklyn Richardson, yes.
Sarah McMurrow, I vote yes.
Melody Fowler, I vote yes.
Leanne Haynes, I vote yes.
David Wilbanks, yes.
Mr. Chapa?
I vote yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chapa. Motion carries. We now move to our discussion items. Discussion A, House Bill 3 Progress Monitoring Update. Dr. Smith?
Thank you, President Fowler. Tonight, Doctors Natalie Lopez and Christy Buell bring the board a progress monitoring update of the middle of the year screener. I should have read that slower. I didn't give them much time. Welcome, Natalie. Welcome, Christy.
Good evening, President Fowler, members of the board, and Dr. Smith. Dr. Buell and I will be presenting on the House Bill 3 progress monitoring update based on the middle of year screeners. So this presentation's a little late. We've already taken the screeners January 16th through the 31st. Some went into February 2nd for our pre-K kiddos. But so actions and strategies have been implemented based on this, but we're just going to catch y'all up with giving you the update on a few of those things. So the purpose of the presentation is to provide that update on the academic performance of our early childhood literacy and math performance based on middle of year. Under House Bill 3, school boards have to adopt goals and plans related to early childhood literacy and math, and then also college, career, and military readiness. This is specifically about just the early childhood literacy and math. And y'all are also required to review the progress towards the goals annually. We do it much more than that. So beginning of year, middle of year, end of year, we also give y'all updates after the curriculum assessment and the benchmark. So this is one of many to check off meeting our annual expectation. So the House Bill 3 goal progress for the presentation is pre-K through second grade. We're also going to give third grade information. But the third grade goal is based on STAR, not the screeners. However, we are still going to include the status of how the third grade kiddos did on their screeners also. For early literacy and reading, for pre-K4, we're using the circle assessment. Kinder through second grade M-class, which again has a goal, and then third grade is also M-class and M-class lectura. Early numeracy and math for pre-K is circle. Kinder through second grade is NWEA MAP, and that's for a goal. The third grade will also report out on NWEA MAP, but no goal aligned to that. So we'll do reading first, literacy first, and then move into mathematics. So for early literacy pre-K4 reading, we are looking to increase the percentage of our pre-K4 students who are on track from 74 to 75% by the end of the year. And currently we are at 71%. Well, currently, based on the middle of year assessment, we are at 71%. You can see from the visual bottom right-hand corner, we are above where we were at this time last year with our pre-K4 kiddos based on the middle of the year assessment. So we're 7% over what we were doing last year. Actually, 7% at the beginning of the year, so incoming, and then 7% at middle of year. So maintaining that increase. And so it'd be great if we maintained that increase through the end of the year, and we ended with 81%, but the goal's 75%, and so we're on track to meet that goal. This is the information broken down by our demographics and our subgroups. So now moving into our kinder through third, that is M class, and it's going to be broken into well below benchmark, at benchmark, or above benchmark. So we consider kiddos to be passing the test if they're at benchmark or above. And so for our M-class kindergarten results, we're looking to increase the percentage of at or above benchmark from 63 to 68%. And from MOY, we came in at 62%. That's 10% above where we were this time last year with our kindergarten class. So looking like we're on pace to hit our goal of 68%. This is the breakdown of each performance level category, however. So prior slide was just those that are passing. This is the breakdown by level. So you can see the above benchmark, at benchmark, below, and then well below. In addition to the end count of the number of kiddos that took the test. And then similar information as what you saw in the pre-K, this is that broken down by subgroup. For our first grade reading, we are at 51%, 4% above where we were this time last year. So we've got some growth to make by the end of the year to meet our goal. What you can see from last year is we had a significant growth from middle of year to end of year. So like to maintain that trend with our first grade reading results, and in order to come in at 67%. And here's the breakdown by performance level: at above benchmark, at benchmark, below or well below. And then the breakdown by our demographics. Moving into second grade, we want to increase from 56 to 64% by end of year. And for middle of year, we came in at 53%. So growth from BOY. And you can see that last year there was more growth from MOY to EOY. And so if that trend continues, we're on our way to our end of year goal of 64%. First and second might need to make more of a push, though. If the trend is exactly as it was last year, we won't meet. And so there's awareness that first and second graders, we've got to do a little something more in order to get to that end of year goal. And then this is the breakdown of the second grade by the 4 different performance levels. And then the breakdown by demographic and subgroup. Now for third grade, this slide looks slightly different because like I mentioned, we don't have a goal for our third graders based on the screener. The third grade goals are based on STAR. However, we're reporting out. So what you can see is that at BOY, 52% of our students were at or above. At MOY, 52% are at or above. Similar to last year, higher than our third grade class last year, but kind of that little bit of that stagnation from BOY to MOY, looking for that increase to EOY like we did last year. And this is the breakdown by performance levels. We didn't do a breakdown by subgroup for third grade. So we'll move into numeracy. So for pre-K 4 math, we're looking to increase from 87 to 88% by the end of the year. And our MOY results are already exceeding what we wanted to do by the end of the year. Yeah, so we're at 91% for MOY. And last year, we increased from MOY to EOY, so we may exceed the goal by even more. So yay pre-K. Just always bringing smiles to our faces. And then this is the breakdown by the subgroups. And then for moving out of circle, out of pre-K into the kindergarten through third grade, that's going to be the NWEA MAP test. And their categories for kinder through second, we're going to give you the categories by their percentiles. So this is low, average, high, average, and then high. But for third grade, we'll give related to the probability towards star. So for our kindergarten, where we're looking to increase the percentage of kinder who achieve average or above from 64 to 69%. And we're currently above that. We're at 71%. So we are above our the goal at BOY, and we're still above the goal. There's been a slight dip, but looking to increase so that we come in meeting the 69%. And this is the breakdown by the performance level category. You'll notice that it's slightly different. It's a math test, not the reading, so it's not the 4 categories, it's the 5. And then this is the breakdown by our subgroups. Moving into first grade, our goal is to increase the percentage from 50 to 66. And so we are currently in middle of year at 56%. So with the math, what we're seeing is the dip from BOY to MOY, and that's from kinder all the way through third grade. And so that's relative. So anyhow, there are interventions in order to make sure that does not continue into EOY. And this is the breakdown by performance level. And then by subgroup. So for second grade, we would like to increase the percentage of our second grade kids who achieve average or above from 41 to 57%. And right now we're at 48. Again, see that slight decrease, so need an upswing for the end of the year and anticipating that. And there's our performance level breakdown and then demographic breakdown. Now, third grade is going to look slightly different because, again, we don't have a third grade goal based on MAP. So just reporting out what MAP is projecting. They're projecting that 57% of our students will be approaches or above. So slightly better what they projected for our third grade class last year. We had more than 54% of our kids pass the third grade math test last year, much more than that. We're not sure how reliable the probability projection is based on the MAP test. We did our own internal analysis on, had this issue with Cambium. Cambium gives us a probability, MAP gives us a probability. We do our own internal equating, and of all three, our own internal equating process was the most accurate. So until one of these is more accurate than us, we're going to keep using our own. But we're totally open, and we reevaluate that. We will continue to reevaluate that. If ever their psychometrics or their approach is stronger, then we would consider what theirs is. And so there's the breakdown, approaches meets masters and did not meet, which again, I'm reporting this out. However, I can't speak to the reliability of it. It wasn't as accurate last year. Now, last year was also difficult because it was STAR to STAR 2.0. Maybe this year now, these will be more reliable, but I don't know that yet. Yeah, and we don't have their formula. So I'm going to now pass it over to Dr. Bill.
Thank you. So we're going to talk a little bit about our district response and our campus response to the data. This year we have really focused on building the capacity of the leaders on our campuses to be able to understand and interpret the data, and to be able to work with the teachers in order to really use this data to inform their instructional process. We identified that as a gap as we went into this year, and so that's really been a strong focus for us. We have had training for our principals throughout the year at the Instructional Leaders Academy, and we've also done some progress monitoring workshops with them so that the principals can take the information back to the teachers in the PLCs and really help to make meaning of the data, because unless we have an action that we can see carried out in the classroom with our students, it's just data. And so we've seen a lot of improvements in how teachers are being able to see how they can use this data to inform instruction. The other thing that we really focused on this year, and it's part of the training that we're doing with the staff, is focusing on just the fidelity of implementation. Are we getting our students on, doing the screeners appropriately? Do we understand why we use them and how the data can be used? And we monitor that on a quarterly basis with our district progress monitoring team. And we've seen we're doing a much better job with the overall implementation of it. So those were two of our big goals this year. We have coaching that's provided at the campus for our principals through our executive directors. Our instructional coaches also receive this same type of training and then can go back and provide coaching to the teachers. So we're really just trying to build that internal capacity so that we can really leverage this for the purpose that we want it. We are also deploying our C&I specialist out more to our campuses this year. That's been a big goal. We're doing that, and instead of just deploying them, we're trying to really use the data we have and our student success, information from our teachers and our principals to determine how to best leverage their expertise to help and to support out on the campus. We want to make sure that the actions that our specialists are taking are really helping our teachers to be able to better deliver that instruction, to be able to align it with the needs of their students. So those have been some of the key actions that we've taken as a district this year. There are also many campus level supports that we've focused on this year, and really it's kind of centered around making meaning of the screener with our principals and with our teachers as well. This year, the C&I department has done a lot to make the screener process more user-friendly. I was looking earlier, I started to bring a copy of it down here, and I thought, oh, that's kind of awkward. But it's an infographic that they've put out a couple of times this year, but it's very user-friendly. It just walks you through the process of, okay, now you've got your beginning of the year data. Here are all the reports that you can access with it, and they just have to click. And then I got down to the bottom. That's what I wish I could really show you here. But it goes down, and there are links to the videos that say, okay, if you just pulled this report, click on this, and now you can see a video that's going to explain it. And it's a one-pager. So those are put out by our C&I department. They basically walk, whether it's a teacher or an administrator, through, this is the data you've gotten. How do you analyze this? How do you use it to inform instruction? With our administrators, we certainly want them to know, how do you go back and lead this with your teachers so that you can help make meaning of it? And it's really been about that continuous progress monitoring that we've talked about this year. We are doing it at a district level, and then we also want to model that and expect that at our campus level. The Curriculum and Instruction Department is continuing to, as part of our progress monitoring meeting that we have, is continuing to look at trends across the screeners and go back and examine what are the instructional resources we have for the teachers? What is our curriculum? Where maybe there's some gaps in the curriculum that mirror the data that we're getting out of our screener. If we find that as part of the progress monitoring committee, then we want them to go back and really take a deep dive in those areas to improve the curriculum, because it's all about when we have gaps identified and our students aren't doing well, we have to dig deep on that and figure out what kind of at-bats are we giving them? How are we teaching them these concepts and skills? And sometimes that's even, as we're at this point of implementation with the screener, sometimes it's even about understanding what's on that assessment. Sometimes our kiddos really know it, but it may be the way in which it's asked, and we just need to present it. So we've done a lot of just familiarizing our teachers and our principals with how is it that they're going to be assessed, because we want that alignment, that really tight alignment of the curriculum, the instruction, and the assessment. So we're constantly looking at that through this process. Some of the campus responses, we have many. We really focus on coaching our campuses to look at their data, because we know it's different. In a district this large, we're going to have a lot of different responses that are necessary. So we provide a lot of coaching to help them come up with unique action plans that will really meet the needs of their teachers and of their students and help with the student growth. So some is a routine review of the screener data through the PLCs. Again, we focused on helping our principals and our instructional coaches to be able to lead those conversations in a meaningful way, providing lesson planning support in weekly PLCs. And this year, one of the moves we made was to pull those PLCs outside of the planning period. We continue to get a lot of good feedback, and I think it provides that real quality planning time where they can really do something with the data. Small group instruction has been a continued focus in our classrooms, and it's focused on the individual student learning needs. I can tell you, just kind of walking around observations, we have a lot more implementation, a lot higher implementation of small group instruction, and the quality within those small groups is really it's improving. I think that our teachers are really learning some really strong instructional strategies so they can deliver really targeted instruction in those small groups. Implementation of the HMH structured phonics lessons. This has been something that we've really dove into this year, and the lessons that teachers are consistently delivering, I think, are very good, and I think we're going to start seeing some of that reflected even more in our data. The lessons are really good, and I feel good about the implementation of it. Scheduling of the structured literacy instructional blocks, that was one of our goals as we started out this year, was to make sure that the instructional block was in line with our literacy plan and the recommended structure for that lesson. And so when you walk around to our classes, you'll see the day cards are posted, and we really try to stick to every student having a very structured literacy block. We know that that's really important and that pieces aren't left out of that. The daily intervention and enrichment time, we now have that on all of our campuses. And so we have a time where not only are we providing those targeted interventions, we're also using our data, because there are also kids within the class that need to be enriched and they need to be stretched so that they can continue to grow. So that's been we've had an emphasis on that as well. And then embedded teacher coaching and support. Our coaches continue to do great work out on the campuses and really supporting teachers and meeting them where they are and helping them to feel successful in the classroom. Our instructional coaches get regular support from the district as well to try to help hone their coaching skills and their instructional focus so that they can be their best when they're out working with our teachers. And then, of course, we have our administrators that also do that as well. We provided all of the decodable readers for our K through 3 classrooms, which was an ask from the teachers. And we want to be sure if we're asking them to implement that HMH and the structured phonics lessons, that we're giving them the appropriate tools to be able to do that. So we had a lot of thank yous for that. And then also we have our first year implementation of our one-way dual language program that we continue to focus on in the district, and we know that's going to have an impact on our kiddos as well. So those are some of our campus level responses. Again, our executive directors work closely. We just had a training with our principals. From that, they received training on all of the screeners. And when we finished with the whole group, they went back, they met with their executive directors, they shared practices, and we probably get more positive feedback on that, but just best practices among principals. They looked at their data together and they thought about, what are the biggest levers we can pull to really support our teachers and the success of students. And each of our principals created their own action plan, so it's unique to their own campus, and committed to that before they left. And that's good because it allows the principal to really think about, I can't do it all and do it well, but what's the most important work that I can do to support the teachers and move outcomes for kids? And it's a way of them also communicating to the executive director. It's the through line back to the central office, so we know if we're deploying resources to help them, we certainly don't want to do something that just creates too much for them. We want to be sure we're doing the right support. And so by allowing them to create this action plan, it just gets everybody on the same page. And I love getting to go out to the PLCs and meet with the instructional leadership teams, and we're just getting a lot of positive feedback in the field from that. And so I'm excited about the momentum we're moving forward. Yes, there's still some areas that we've got to keep a focus on, and our kids deserve that, and we will. But I do feel good about where we are, and I feel good about the instructional focus we have. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
Do I have any trustees with questions or comments? Ms. McMurrow?
Thank you, Dr. Lopez, Dr. Buell. I had a question about the third grade overall results. Can we go back to that slide? It was the MOY pie chart. And
on MAP or MPS?
Yes, for MAP.
Okay.
It was the one with the pie chart. I think it was right after. There we go. So I remember you mentioning, Dr. Lopez, that this is, and you have it at the bottom in a note, this is not as highly predictive as what we would have anticipated last year. And you mentioned that our team has their own analysis where they project achievement on this year's STAR. So if we know that this year's MAP is projecting that 43% is not projected to meet approaches, and we're saying that we also analyze the state's interim assessment and we also run our own analysis, would you guys be able to report that to the board, especially since you're finding that to be a more accurate prediction?
So internally, we do not use screeners to do a projection on STAR. MAP does their own projection on STAR with the screener data. We don't use the screener data. RNA does not use the screener data to do any projections. We use CA and SIA, are the benchmark test.
Okay.
And on the CA and on the SI, and historically we've always done it. We've never done anything with the screeners because screeners it's not a standards-based test, and so it's not enough like the STAR test for us to equate that test. So we only ever have done our local curriculum assessments, and then whatever benchmark test we use, whether that's a prior year STAR built test or recently the SIA.
Right.
But we've so certainly last year the projection based on third grade was that 54% would be approaches or better. It was not that low. It was not that low. So that might be alarming to see that.
Right.
But it was absolutely not that low.
Okay. And I was mainly asking, and I mean, this is an adaptive test. It hits the ceiling, so to speak. When students get frustrated, it's because it's adapting to how well they're doing. It's not TEKS-based. This is a
Right.
national test. So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
understand all that.
Yeah.
But just from an oversight perspective, I would love to get more information about what you as an expert, what your projection is.
Okay.
Because I see MAP's projection,
Mhm.
and I keep hearing that this might not be accurate. And last year we found that it perhaps wasn't the most accurate predictor.
Mhm.
So I'm curious to see what do we anticipate. That's what I was asking.
Yes,
if
and-
possible.
yes, ma'am. We're reporting that out actually at the next board meeting.
Perfect.
It was just going to be so much data for y'all, and
Well,
so it was
yes,
like, let's
and-
split
and
these up.
That was going to be the only other thing I mentioned. We're putting a lot of data in front of our teachers. And I know that we are meeting in PLC and digging into the data. I do hope that part of those meetings, and we're helping teachers analyze and know how to group their small groups and know how to leverage their instruction to, better prepare students. I do hope that they're not overwhelmed with all these data reports, because MAP is one data point. And to drive your instruction, I think that, and this is where I'd yield to you guys, but I think that we do have information about our state standards and what our state assessment says. And we don't know what a national assessment will entail. And when it doesn't align with our TEKS, how many eggs are we going to put in the basket of making sure our teacher's instruction matches this assessment? So that's what I was wondering. Like, are we training our teachers to kind of leverage their data points without not knowing what to look at?
Absolutely, yeah.
You
So,
know?
and we actually did have that conversation with principals about, so I can't speak to getting all the way down to the teacher level, but we met with principals and we said, hey, here's the prediction in Cambium, here's the internally equated projection. What I would use Cambium for is this. I'd tell your teachers, hey, this gives you the breakdown by standard for their kids so that they then know which areas they might want to focus on in those small groups with those kids based on the Cambium test. We can't tell you what to do with the probabilities because we don't have the formulas and we don't know enough about it. And it just, again, ours was more reliable last year, so we really haven't even looked into it.
Yeah.
Once they're better than ours, then I'll say, okay, wait a minute, we need to figure this out.
Very
Let's
good.
backwards map this. But we can't even backwards map it because also the SIA is different. It's adaptive. So not all kids get the same items, and then certain items are weighted differently. I don't want to get too much into
Very
the
good.
whole like.
No, I
weeds of
understand
it, but-
as long as that context is being provided. And I don't want our teachers to look at this and be defeated. I don't want our
Sure.
administrators to look at this and be defeated.
Mhm.
We also, we know that they took this a couple months back, and so how would it change if they took it today? And there's just so many variables. So I appreciate you answering my questions.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Mr. Wilbanks?
Thank you, Ms. McMorrow. I had the same questions in terms of getting a more accurate projection of where we think we are in terms of readiness to STAR. And then if I could also unpack, one of the reasons why we went with NWEA map is because it is aligned to the TEKS, so I thought. And also in the past, it's not aligned to the TEKS. Okay. And also in the past, their projection to the STAR was accurate, but then how accurate was it, say, before they redesigned the STAR, and how much do we attribute to the redesign of the STAR last year in terms of throwing it out of whack? So, do we have any data you can share in terms of? Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Can I phone a friend? I'm phoning a friend.
So NWEA actually calibrated on two different times. They did a 2015 and a 2020 recalibration across the country in terms of the way they designed their assessment. The reason why Ms. McMurrow is talking about the distinction between NWEA and projection towards STAR and where the misstep might be is because it's nationally normed around skills and it's not nationally normed around specific standards. And so what Natalie is referring to in terms of projection towards STAR, it's because we're using a standards reference-based assessment against another standards-based reference assessment rather than using the norms to STAR. Now, NWA does do that, like you described. It is served towards a projection. It's not the reason why we necessarily went towards MAP. We went with MAP because it's just a better assessment, generally speaking, than the one we were doing before. Exactly.
A wealth of data to the teachers.
It does, and I think the part that Ms. McMurrow brought up, which is really important, is it's based on very specific skills. So like when we look at our data, we can see really clearly like there are some strands in mathematics that we know our kids continue to struggle with, like geometry and measurement continues to come up as one of the lower RIT scores, or monetary transactions or data analysis. That's another one of our RIT scores that's lower than the other two. So what we do is we teach teachers how to like leverage this to design lessons that address the skills that are aligned to those standards, but the projections aren't always going to come out exactly the way that she described because they're separate. I do think over time it will get better. I think what you have right now is a 2020 assessment for NWEA, a new STAR assessment that just got redesigned, and you need a couple years of a baseline for the company to do it. So when I spoke with the team about it, they're anticipating NWEA will probably redo theirs here soon. There was a 5-year gap between the last two times. We hope it'll be earlier than 2025 this next round, which maybe will give you a better prediction in the future.
No, thank you, Dr. Wertz.
Yeah.
That hit to the core of my question. And my final question, I guess, is for Ms. Buell. Or Dr. Wertz or anyone. So like pre-K, knocking it out of the park, we're already meeting and exceeding our goal with the mid-year. And that was a couple of months ago. But the first, second, and third grade on the numeracy, have we done any root cause on why we're seeing the dip from beginning of the year to middle of the year?
Yeah, so our curriculum instruction department is looking at that, and I know they're going back in and looking at the student data and then diving into the curriculum and into the resources to see how are we actually teaching some of those key skills where we're finding those deficits. This year, it's about that. And about identifying where are the areas that we need to go back and refine the curriculum to provide additional resources, and why are the students not doing well in those areas. So that's really the reason that the District Progress Monitoring Committee meets, is to, one, OSL kind of focuses on the implementation side and the training side of it. C&I really helps us to go and look at the curriculum and instruction side of it. We all come together to try to take that district look. So I don't have the specific answer to that right now, but what I do want you to know is those are questions that we're looking into this year.
Yeah,
So there's not always, we could probably give you some surface level answers, but what the committee has really, I think, been committed to, and what we should be proud of this year, is doing the root cause analysis and really dive deep.
Yeah, I'd be curious to find out what the results of that root cause is.
Yeah.
And kudos, because just what you described in terms of that culture of the importance of progress monitoring and how to do it well. And not only that, but to really show teachers the benefit of what DDI provides them in terms of better student outcomes, and really focusing on the whole soup to nuts there, and without adding a lot, and more coaching the teachers on what the benefits are and how to use it to actually improve student outcomes. So that was a highlight of the presentation, and I want to thank you and your staff for that focus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, most of the time I try and hold back on a few things, but I can't help myself when we start talking about things like this. I think there's a couple of really good points that were made here tonight. First, and I think you've heard this, there is no perfect assessment right now. And I need everybody to hear that loud and clear. There is no perfect assessment that is going to predict everything, nor do I believe that we should put all our eggs in one basket. And I think we have to think about that constantly when it comes to teacher workload and what is happening on our teachers' plates. We want to give them the tools and resources to help make professional decisions to best meet the needs of their kids. So what really excited me about what Natalie and Christy were talking about tonight is the ability for us to take a look at this and say, is this really meeting our needs in Arlington ISD or is it not? And how do we know? And I think we got to get to that eventually and be able to say, these are the assessments that we believe in, but we also believe in our teachers and formative assessment, which we know is the most important assessment as far as helping students learn and grow. And I think that there's some real power here in the things that have been said tonight, because we have a lot of data. We have a lot of things at our fingertips, but yet we know that we have to be able to use it in a meaningful way. And I'm really impressed with the team that was presenting here tonight, because I believe they always look back and they say, all right, is this going to be good for our teachers in the classroom and therefore our students in their learning progression? Regarding MAP, one of the things that's the benefit of MAP, even though it's not always directly aligned, is it's skill-based, because I don't want to be a superintendent that is 100% star-based. Learning is about more than star, and learning is about more than star scores. And so there's a progression of learning that we need to go through, and taking a look at the skills that students need to develop along the way that sometimes might not match up perfectly with a star score. By the time they matriculate through our system, we want them to have those skills to thrive when they leave us. And so I'm very thankful for Stephen and Natalie and Christy and what they described and what they constantly do. And I want to assure you that we're always going to take a look at effectiveness of this from a teacher lens, because we want to make sure that the teachers can take what we have and use it well in the classroom.
Anyone else with a comment or a question? I just appreciate how you've reached out and talked with principals and teachers to get their input. They're boots to the ground every day. And sometimes I think it's easier for people that aren't entrenched in that to make decisions and think they know what's best for teachers and principals, but it's the teachers and principals that know best what's going on their campus. So I appreciate that you take that into consideration. I had one question, maybe for Dr. Lopez. I wanted to ask you, you had mentioned that some teachers do interventions. And were those interventions what you had on the campus response?
I'm actually not responsible for that.
Okay.
So,
Dr. Buell.
So I was like, so we do, each of our teachers have, will use their data, a compilation of data, right, to determine what students are in need of targeted interventions. In Arlington, we don't say if, then. We really try to arm our campuses with, here's an array of interventions you can do, which are really grounded in best practices of teaching and knowing where the student is, maybe to Dr. Smith's point, what prerequisite skills they're missing that are getting in the way of really learning the standard. And so I think our teachers do a really good job of that. And that's part of, that PLC process and bringing teachers together to even plan lessons and do model lessons with each other so they can figure out why is this class being more successful with this skill than maybe another. And sometimes it's just about the teaching or how you're using resources. So our teachers plan a lot of those, and I think I'm thankful that we don't have an if-then sort of thing. But what we do have is the expectation that when students aren't being successful, that they are provided interventions. And that's why we're committed to having the intervention and enrichment time embedded into the school day every day for teachers to be able to provide that small group targeted instruction. And I will say I was in a PLC I guess the week before spring break. I missed that week, right? The week before spring break that just really brought it all together for me. It was probably one of the best PLCs I've been to. And they were really leveraging one of the new reports that we were putting out where they could really look. I mean, it was at the click of a button, the teachers were able to see who are my 0.5 students, who are my students that aren't making growth, who are the ones that are exceeding, and to really, gone are the days of them having to sit and calculate that and count that out. We can provide that for them now, and there was no principal leading that. the teachers were just in there doing the work. And one of them, they had been going over the SIA test, jumped on and said, oh, I was looking at this question the other day, pulled it up and showed another teacher how to look at it and understand it. It was the most authentic discussion that the teachers were having. And I was like, yes, that's really what you want. But our teachers use that time and the resources that are provided to provide that targeted instruction for the students. And they do progress monitor all of our Tier 3 students. So we do have a system in the district that we put it in, we track the students' progress, and there are campus level meetings around that to really stop and say, it keeps a child that's a Tier 3 student from falling through the gaps. It's a point in time where they stop and say, here's a student, they're still not progressing, they're a Tier 3 student, what else can we do? So we have a system in place in the district to monitor those students. So I hope that answers your question.
It does.
It's kind of a big question, and I tried to bring it down.
No, but whatever we can do to provide those resources for teachers to make it
Absolutely.
easier for them to get the material and know what they need to do. And I love that the tutor time or the one-on-one is during the school day.
Yeah.
Because kids that ride the bus and need to get on the bus to go home, they wouldn't have access to that help. So I appreciate that they do it during the school day.
Absolutely. And with our Curriculum Central, there are a lot of reteach sort of resources for our teachers. And that's been one focus that CNI has had this year, is making those user-friendly so that you don't have to go to a lot of different places on Curriculum Central to get it. If you're teaching a unit, you can go down, you can click on the resource, and they've got some things there that they're not having to go out and recreate that wheel, because they just don't, they have the knowledge, they don't have the time.
They don't
And
have
we
the
want
time.
them to spend the time that they do have with the students, so.
I love that, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that, because whatever we can do to save the teachers time,
Absolutely.
it's most important.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Reich?
Thank you, President Fowler. Thank you to you both for great information, good discussion, great points for sure. Data-driven decisions is the way to go, determining the right data and which pieces to look at that are truly impactful, absolutely. I'm curious from a governance perspective. I'm looking at our targets and where we're going, where we are, and really appreciate the information regarding the response and the corrective action plans, et cetera. One thing that I was curious about that I don't see here, does the district look at, as far as the lower end metrics for the did not meet or below benchmark, well below benchmark, low versus low average. Those are things that it's more than a curiosity. I want to make sure that those students that are in the bottom of the bucket, that population is shrinking versus growing. Obviously, in totality, those segments together are going to shrink as the higher performers grow. But I want to make sure that we're not increasing a gap there.
So you're referring to taking it down to the individual student data?
No. So for the, our goals are based on the overall and above or at benchmark data. Yeah, so like that's a good, one with the pie charts is probably easier. So what I'm talking about is that those students that are in the low category on this slide, just year over year or assessment to assessment, that low category is shrinking, and we're not actually getting more in the low, less in the low average.
Sure.
If that makes sense. So that those that are truly our highest need and
Right.
most at risk,
That's shrinking.
that's shrinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. Part of, we don't just, so when we're in a PLC or when many of our principals have one-on-one data meetings with the teacher, they would know those 13%, that would be by name. So we wouldn't talk about 13% on a campus. We want to know which students are those. And they really do track those because we do want to make sure that that's shrinking. We also want to make sure that, you know, if a student is staying there and they're not moving, we look at the individual growth of students. And we do that through this. And to Dr. Smith's point earlier, one of the things that I think we've gotten really good at this year are the campus-based assessments that we give. And our campuses give those, and they load those up. In the past, it's been an optional thing. And this year, we've really moved to our campuses tracking those. So really is about triangulating all of that data. We certainly want that number to go down. And I think the way we get there is by knowing the students by name, the intervention by name, and then tracking their individual progress.
Yeah, and it's on some of these it's a small number. On some of the others, it's a larger number, and that it might be something to look at as a trend. Although I know with the change of data and assessments and norms, et cetera, might not be the right time to do that. But just as a trend analysis, it might be something to make sure that we're always in that upward trajectory versus we've got this sub-pop that over time is actually increasing, because that hurts us overall.
We can take a look at that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Raj. Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Buell.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lopez, so much. Now we come to our open forum for non-agenda items. Ms. Forsberg, do we have any requesters registered to address the board regarding non-agenda items?
No, ma'am, we have no registered requests.
Thank you, Ms. Forsberg. It is now time for our superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Fowler, members of the board, and it's my honor to give you a little bit different superintendent's report tonight. We will talk a little bit about highlights, and then at the end, I'll share a little bit about entry plan, which I like to refer to as investment plan, and where we stand so far. So if you would bear with me for a few minutes, I promise I won't talk too long. I'd like to share some information about exciting news that's happening in our district tonight in my superintendent's report. I want to thank the National Medal of Honor Museum for bringing Medal of Honor winner Florent Groberg and WWE stars before spring break. All three talked about the importance of commitment, whether it was to a military unit, training for wrestling, family, or school. It was a great opportunity for our students to hear from them about how commitment to something can translate into success. In case you didn't know it, apparently there's an eclipse, a total eclipse, heading our way on April 8th. Students at Bergen Elementary got to hear some insight on the eclipse from Univision Chief Meteorologist Nellie Carino. She peppered the students with questions about the particulars of the eclipse, and they had answers. One thing she couldn't tell them was, is it going to be sunny on April 8th? We don't know that yet. I want to take a moment also and say we are very excited because we have a whole lot of glasses for every student throughout our district and staff member throughout our district, thanks to the Perot Museum. So this is a learning experience for our kids in our system, and we're excited to have that coming up. I want to thank everyone at Crouch Elementary for welcoming me to the school as part of the annual Reading Rocks event Crouch does every year as part of Read Across America Day. I was able to join other Arlington ISD staffers as well as community members and go into classrooms and read books and answer questions. It was great for me to spend time with students. I forgot what a page-turner grumpy monkey party time was. I also found out that Justin Chapa has not met Judge Judy, which I heard students were really disappointed about, but yet he has been to the White House. Happy 50th birthday to Foster Elementary. Recently, the school hosted a celebration for its 50th, and some of us were fortunate enough to be able to attend. It was great to hear so many people share great memories about what Foster has meant to them. It also was fun to be able to support one of Foster's finest, our very own Sarah McMurrow. I also want to give highlights, and I can't remember their name, but there were two brothers that presented that night as well. They were phenomenal. And one of the reasons that I felt like they were so phenomenal is they were telling the challenges that they faced as students and talking about the challenges they faced and how much the staff at Foster loved them and supported them and cared for them when their home situation was challenging for them. And those two are extremely successful young men right now. maybe middle-aged men, I'm not sure, but they were wonderful to hear from as well. So it was truly a wonderful event. I'd like to dive into a little bit about the entry plan versus investment plan. So I want to say real quickly, I know when new superintendents come into a system, sometimes they focus only on an entry plan. I wanted to call it an investment plan for Arlington ISD. I realize wholeheartedly that I'm sitting in the chair that someone was sitting in for a long time in Arlington ISD, and I am new coming in from the outside. Dr. Cavazos did amazing work here in Arlington ISD. I think the most important thing that I need people to hear is when I'm coming in and entering a system, it's not just about checking boxes for me, it's about investing in the school district, the schools, and the community in which I serve. And so I really want to focus on that term investment plan rather than entry plan as we continue to move through these first 100 days in Arlington ISD. Throughout this, I broke a plan into 3 phases. I asked our Board of Trustees for some information prior to even joining the school district, picked their brains a little bit, and really tried to hone in on 3 distinct phases or timeframes when I would check myself and see, am I working efficiently enough, effectively enough in order to meet the goals that we set out? Next slide, please. Those goals that we outlined initially were as listed in front of you. 1, really focusing on the Team of 8 partnership and how the people behind the dais here work together. In the state of Texas, we refer to that as a team of 8 because the school board has a very distinct governance role, and I, as the superintendent, have a very distinct management role. But in order to best serve our school district, we have to work together and ensure that we're truly functioning as a team. The second part is the effective transition is to make sure that we are doing everything we can to keep the bells ringing, the buses moving, the food being served, and everything happening on a regular basis in our system. As I mentioned before, this district is known for amazing work and has been for a long time. My job is to help make sure that that effective transition helps us keep those things going and isn't an impediment. Team development, I've been meeting a lot with our senior staff in Arlington ISD, and I'm extremely thankful for the work that they do. We're working together, and I think it's always important to note, anytime you get one new team member, you have a new team at that point. And so we're working together and learning about each other and focusing on how we can best meet the needs of our school district, our staff, and our community. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a minute. And then finally, in community engagement, trying to make sure that the superintendent job isn't seen as one that is in the office all the time, but as one that is out and about in the community, listening to the stakeholders that we serve, being visible throughout our community, and trying to see our student learning in action. What you can see here, and I won't go through every one of these, are just a quick assessment of some of the action steps under each of these goals that I had taken. There are a few things to note on here. 1, obviously, we're going to be scheduling a Team of 8 training coming up here that I've spoken with each of you about. We're excited about that, and we know that as a next step for Team of 8 development, we need to talk about what our goals are for the future. You see the bottom box is unchecked. Initially, when I drafted this, we talked about developing specific transition goals, so just in my transition time for me to achieve. But in talking to you all, we changed those, and I spoke to each of you about really wanting to focus in on setting district goals for the next year, and to be able to say, this Team of 8, Board of Trustees, is focused on goals that we need to achieve for a system. The reason behind that is we want to be very clear with our teachers, our staff, our community, how we line up every piece of improvement plan in our system, from the district improvement plan to the campus improvement plan to the professional development that we offer in Arlington ISD. So I'm looking forward to partnering with you all moving forward on making sure we set some district goals. Next slide, please. Community engagement. I hope people have seen me out and about in the community because I feel like I'm out quite a bit. We have really done a lot in the last, I think it's 36 days that I've been here, and I'm grateful for the opportunities that I've had. Obviously, we've got a meet and greet opportunity coming up tomorrow night, I hear, and I'm excited to continue to meet more and more of the community and see how Arlington ISD and hear how Arlington ISD has impacted their lives. Also, I want to note that I would continue to work to meet with local elected officials, civic organizations, and community leaders. I've spent some time doing that over the past 30 plus days, and I'll continue to do that moving forward. Next slide. Team development is a team, and when I say team, I'm talking about every employee in our school district, but I also want to make sure that I'm talking about our specific senior leadership team in Arlington ISD. I want to continue to work on developing the team concept and making sure that people see me as a partner and not just a superintendent in some of these things. So you can see, meet with the executive leaders and principals in one-on-one and small group settings to learn about the school district. Obviously, I meet with our senior staff on a regular basis. I've been scheduling some individual walkthroughs with our principals to visit their classes, pick their brain. My questions are, what do we do well? What are we struggling with? And what recommendation do you have for me as I enter the school district? And those are quick, rather informal, but it's great to just hear the feedback from those amazing leaders throughout our system. We have a few other things scheduled coming up, and I'm excited to continue that. One of the things I don't feel like I've done a good job is to be more public about my learning, and so hence the report tonight. I need to be able to talk more and more about the things that I'm seeing and hearing and discovering about Arlington ISD and be more visible about that, so that's why you see that. And then finally, we as a senior leadership team or senior staff, we've talked about diving into a book study and really focusing in on the culture that we want to create in our system. We've gotten some recommendations on books so far, we just haven't started that yet, and that's why you don't see a check mark there. Next slide, please. On the last part, you can see one is kind of an overlap on the book study piece. I've really been interested in diving in and studying and listening and learning the practices, procedures, and policies in place. Even though I came from other school districts in the state of Texas, we do things differently in every school district as well. So there's always a learning curve, and diving in to see how things happen, how we get business done has been a great learning experience for me so far. I want to point out, because I didn't say it at the beginning, there's check marks next to some of these boxes, but it doesn't mean that I am going to stop doing those things. I have to continuously learn about the practices that we have in the school district so that I can best serve our system. And then finally, the one I wanted to note, I haven't engaged a transition team, but I kind of planned on doing that in the second phase of my entry. And what I mean by a transition team is just bringing together some key advisors to help guide me through and give me input about next steps in transition. What am I doing well? What are areas that I need to focus on more and more? As trustees, when I talk with you individually, I've asked many of you, do you have any recommendations for me? Is there anything that I need to work on? Any feedback? And I want to get that same type of team feedback from some of our staff members in our system. Also, beginning in Arlington ISD, I set out some key priorities, and I'd want to tell you a little bit about this. These aren't necessarily goals. These are what I want to make sure that are clear messages in our community as I enter the school district. One, you see celebrate the good work of the district. I think it's important for people to know and realize that from somebody coming in from the outside, I see the things that are amazing here, and I want to talk about those, and it's important for people to see that. Second part is exploring possibilities, and that's making sure that we're always thinking about our next step and how we continue to evolve as a school system to best meet the needs of our students. Creating connections is pretty self-explanatory, along with building strong partnerships. As I'm out and about in the community or on our campuses or meeting with you all, for me, one of the most important things is that we create a relationship so that we can have constant dialogue about how we are best serving our students and how we can be better every day. Coming up for the next phase, we've started phase 2 so far. I just realized I probably shouldn't have checked those boxes because they're not done yet. I've got some work to do there. But we'll continue working through addressing each one of the goals. I really want to start to move. I've gotten a lot of tactical information about how we do business, but I don't know some of the strategies and the why questions and some of the things. So I think this phase is going to help me move into more of a why questioning stance to understand the reason behind some of the things. And then finally, to constantly work to understand the Arlington ISD culture, what makes us strong, and what are areas for us to continue to grow. And that concludes my superintendent's report for this month, and I open it up to any questions, thoughts, or comments that you all might have.
I would just like to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You are already exhibiting such great leadership in this district and out in the community, and I want you to know that people are saying great things. They see what you're doing, and we appreciate it. We really do. You're doing such a great job on such a short, you've only been, what, 5 days?
36 now. I think,
36 days, and you are already doing such great things, right?
Not that he's counting.
yeah.
No, but we do. We appreciate you so much, and we're so glad that you made the decision to come to Arlington ISD.
Thank you.
We're so pleased. Do I have any other trustees with questions or comments or reports? All right, I'm going to talk about March is Women's History Month, a month dedicated to recognizing and celebrating the incredible achievements of women throughout history and across the globe. It's a time to reflect on the courage, resilience, and unwavering spirit of women who have shattered barriers, changed norms, and paved the way for future generations. Women like Mulela Yousafzai, who said, "One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world." Mulela is a Pakistani activist for female education and the youngest Nobel Prize laureate. She survived an assassination attempt by the Taliban and then founded the Malala Fund to support education for girls around the world. And she's not even 30 years old. We celebrate women like Shirley Chisholm, who was the first African-American woman elected to the United States Congress in 1968. Amelia Earhart, who was the first female aviator to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. Clara Barton, who started her career as a teacher, became one of the first women employed by the United States federal government and later founded the American Red Cross. Marie Curie, who was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, remains the only person to have won the Nobel Prize in 2 different scientific fields, physics and chemistry. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who famously said, "Women belong in all places where decisions are being made. It shouldn't be that women are the exception." She was a towering figure in the fight for women's rights and gender equality. Each of these women demonstrated extraordinary courage, intellect, and resilience, breaking barriers in their respective fields and paving the way for future generations. Celebrating their achievements and stories during Women's History Month and beyond serves as a powerful reminder of the impact women have had and continue to have in our world. Tonight, I want to express my deepest gratitude to all the incredible women in our district. Your strength, intelligence, compassion, and determination continue to inspire us all. Let's pledge to support one another, not just this month, but every day as we work together to make a world-class education possible for every student now into the future. And I just want to take a minute to thank my female colleagues for the great work that you are doing on this board. You're being recognized for your work, and I appreciate you so much. Our guys too, but the women, that's who we're talking about today. So thank you so much. And Ms. Secretary, do we have anything to report? Thank you, Ms. Secretary. It is now 8:26, and we will be going back into closed. 8:27. Thank you, sir. We are now reconvening into open session
9:38.
at 9:38, and we are adjourned.